Here we are on ES at 9:45. I'm feeling very bearish on the day. We can see that price has printed this massive fair value gap that I feel that it probably wants to get to before it can continue up. On the 15-minute here, 9:45, I'm able to trade, the first 15 minutes after the open's been printed. I see a gap here. On the 15-minute time frame as well, it left us a beautiful gap right up here on the 30-minute time frame. So keeping in the short bias and my overall target down here, let's see what happens. Now we can see the final target for my bias has been reached. This 15-minute was respected, as well as this 30-minute rejected. So I did take a trade on ES right here, which great continuation trade, presented the entry requirements. I have a fair value gap here, sold into and filled by an inverted fair value gap with the strong, beautiful rejection, and enter in the imbalance. However, I trade off the micros chart. This is not as reliable as the minis chart. We can see here that my same entry, same asset, the rejection didn't happen here. It happened above where I was stopped out. The same 30-minute zone was tapped in here and stopped me out here. Same asset, different data feed. So going forward, I will be using the minis data feed. However, I want to talk about a trade on NAS that I took. I did take a long down here, which ultimately ended up being a loser, and we'll discuss why. However, all right, we can see here on NAS, the long green box that price is currently in is a 30-minute zone that's been respected multiple times, created last Tuesday. All right, so we can see that price is rejecting beautifully from this 30-minute zone. Looking to enter as soon as this inverted fair value gap marked out in red has been filled. All right, alerts set, stop loss set, and I'm walking away just as I said I would this week. And boom, my alert goes off and I come back to the computer. However, this is where I've mismanaged this trade. My alert's gone off and I haven't taken any profit like I should be. I'm using the excuses. I want it to go a little bit higher. Maybe I'm getting a little greedy here. The original plan getting into this trade was partials at the structure point and go BE. I had already lost one trade today. I wanted to be concerned, at least get my money back so I could end the day break even, or at least maybe a little bit of profit. We can see here on ES, the large green box, my original sell side liquidity target hasn't been mitigated. We swept a double bottom here, which I used as entry confirmation for NASDAQ to maybe reverse up. However, the stronger liquidity rests in that large green box. If price were to continue down on NASDAQ right now, there is no liquidity other than my stop loss. There are no zones to protect price action to keep it up. It is just my stop loss now at below this low. And there we have it, stopped out. I could have taken off a couple contracts like I originally planned to protect myself on the day. However, due to greed and not wanting to miss out on $50, $75, I took a full loss on this position.